Meteorologist Melissa Nord here with your Sunday morning update on Tropical Storm Ian, which still has winds of 50 miles per hour, gusts to 65. And yesterday at 11 o'clock, some new watches out ahead of this storm for western Cuba, some hurricane watches and also tropical storm watches. But let me show you the official track from the Hurricane Center. Going to become a hurricane sometime later today or overnight. Then as we head into the middle part of the week, the first to middle part of the week, this will become a major hurricane. Right now they have it topping out in a Category 4 status with winds of 140 miles per hour. But you notice as we get closer to landfall how there has been a shift westward in the models and that cone of uncertainty, and still a big area, big territory of where landfall could ultimately be. There's a lot of uncertainty with the models right now. That's the big picture track and the cone of uncertainty from the Hurricane Center. But I'll show you these spaghetti models, which really, I think, tell the story very well. There has been a shift westward yesterday in the models, and this morning they are all over the place with where they think landfall will ultimately end up being. We have some models that still think is going to be out towards Tampa Bay, Sarasota, other models towards Apalachicola, the Big Bend, even some models that try to bring it closer to Mobile, Alabama. So there's still a lot that we do not know about where the storm's ultimately going to go, but we do know significant impacts will be likely wherever it ends up making landfall. Here's an example of which these are the forecast track models for the American and the European. See how there's already by Wednesday, as this thing is getting into the Gulf, a pretty big difference, a spread in where they're showing up. That landfall location, or rather the location to be Wednesday early morning, that's a spread of nearly 150 miles. We'll push the forecast track out to kind of landfall time frame. And this is the difference between Apalachicola and the Emerald Coast getting slammed versus Tampa Bay getting slammed. So this is a big headache for a lot of meteorologists across the country, and it means that we need more data. We need better data to put into these models to fine-tune where exactly that landfall will ultimately end up being. And we're going to get a lot more data today. Hurricane hunters have several missions scheduled inside Ian. Not only that, but National Weather Service offices are doing 2 extra balloon releases. They started that Saturday and they will be continuing that today as well. And that's not just for the offices in the southeast right ahead of the storm, but that also includes offices in the eastern 2/3 of the U.S. And yesterday, Spokane, Washington even had to do some extra balloon releases because they're trying to sample the atmosphere out ahead of the storm and see where will it ultimately be steered. You notice the forecast track as we head into Friday, our different models, the European, the American, both trying to bring the remnants somewhere up into Georgia. So what will that ultimately mean for us in North Georgia? Well, we don't know the final track, the final strength and final impacts, but what we do know is we could see some enhanced tropical moisture, and that could increase our rain chances later in the week. The final track will let us know if other impacts could be expected as well. So here's kind of the takeaways on Ian this morning. It's going to become a major hurricane, going to become a hurricane later today. That location for landfall over the last 36 hours has been trending further west, but there's still a really big spread in models this Sunday morning. So we still don't know where exactly this is going to go and who's going to see those highest impacts. In North Georgia, it does look like maybe Friday into the start of next weekend, there could be enhanced tropical moisture over our area, but really too early to talk any specifics.